Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Lebanon Plan Commission meeting for April. I will go ahead and call us to order. If we could get a call of the roll, please.
Dan Bayshore.
Here.
Denise Niblick. Present. Diane Scott, absent. Kevin Krulik. Corey Coots.
Here.
Keith Campbell.
Here.
Heather Scheller. Here. Lori Gross. Here.
All right. Thank you very much, Kelly. We have just a couple of items here. So first would be the approval of the minutes. I believe we all received a copy of those. So I would entertain a motion.
Move to approve the minutes.
Got a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. And that takes us up to our old business. I do only have one item under old business, and I think Ben's going to go over a little bit of docket 25-10, which is the City Lebanon Comprehensive Plan.
All right, commission members, we'll start off on a little bit of a journey here this evening through our agenda, which is a full page long. We're starting off with the update that we've been working on over the last year to the comprehensive plan. It may feel like it was just a few years ago we just did this, and actually it was about 5 years ago. Really felt like with some of the significant changes that have come our way over the last 5 years, it would really be to our benefit to revisit that. Incorporate those changes a little better into our comprehensive plan and really think about how those things like the LEAP district and Waterford are going to impact the city over the next 5 to 10 years. And in reality, for a community that's changing as rapidly and as quickly as Lebanon is right now, it's probably good that we review this pretty significantly every 5 years and no more than 10 years, just with the changes that are coming at us. So what we wanted to do is really go back and revisit that, the comprehensive plan, make those necessary updates based on the things that we determined over this last year were important. And a couple things we did, our last comprehensive plan, if you recall, was an entirely web-based comprehensive plan. We felt it was important as we started going through that to go ahead and make sure we had a document that could be printed that somebody could actually take with them and have in their possession. And so we wanted to make sure that there was a document like that this time, but we will also still accompany that with the website like we had before and really try to reorganize things so it's a little bit better to find and a little bit easier to navigate than it was before. So one other thing that I just wanted to quickly highlight before I turn it over to the consulting team from MKSK, one other thing that we're going to be tasked with responding to, and this is information that came out of the Boone County housing study that was completed last year. And this is really looking at the entirety of Boone County, but certainly Lebanon's going to be a big part of that. And what this is showing here is, in blue is a baseline population forecast for Boone County, where there are right now about 77,000 people in the county and projecting to grow to about 98,000 people by 2050, so in 25 years. But what you see here from the red, it was the consultant that did that housing study was looking at the impact of the LEAP district on Boone County and the additional demand for housing that's going to be created based on the drastic employment changes and increases we'll see here, but also looking at the entire life cycle of the market and the economy and looking at how businesses in the LEAP district are going to create demand for other jobs in the service industries. So this is really looking at how Boone County is going to have to respond to those increased employment created by LEAP district. And what you see here is that from the baseline of 77,000 people in 2025, we're actually going to need to respond to demand for additional growth of about 64,000 people in Boone County over the next 25 years. So significant, almost doubling in 25 years, population of Boone County. And when you then look at how that affects the demand for housing units in Boone County, you see here what they're showing is between 2025 and 2030, another 5,000 housing units are going to need to be provided in Boone County. And they're saying, and it says at LEAP based on the LEAP projections, is about 2,000 units, and I would say at LEAP refers to Lebanon. So in the next 5 years, we would need to do about 2,000 additional housing units, which is about 400 a year. That's more than twice what we've ever done in Lebanon. So this was really important. Our consulting team reviewed all this information. We wanted to make sure that we were in a position to be able to respond to, accommodate, provide for the demand that's going to be coming our way. And this isn't all the demand that's created by LEAP. They're anticipating people are going to be living all over the place and working at LEAP. This is just the demand that we're going to see in Boone County as a result of the LEAP district and just natural growth in Boone County. So you can see there that we're ramping up to almost 6,000 total units in the last 5-year period. So we're going to need to be providing between 500 and 700 units in Lebanon over the next 25 years, every year for the next 25 years, to be able to respond properly to the type of demands. And that's demand that's coming whether we're ready for it or not. That's going to need to be provided somewhere in Boone County. So that was really a big thing that we really wanted to look at as part of this comprehensive plan update, is how do we respond to what's coming to Boone County, what we know is coming to Boone County, and then how do we provide for that properly. So with that, then I'm going to turn it over to the MKSK team, and they've got a presentation of their own that they're going to provide to you. And then I can wrap it up once they're done and kind of walk through the process for how we go about updating the comprehensive plan.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, Ben. Good evening. My name's Aaron Kowalski. I'm an associate principal at MKSK. We are a land planning, urban planning, urban design, and landscape architecture firm. I work out of our Indianapolis office. I'm joined by my colleague, Carly Lemon, who's been the project manager on this comprehensive plan update. So we're here to give you a short presentation, and as Ben mentioned, answer any questions that you all might have. So I think Ben already gave a pretty good introduction, but I'll talk a little bit about the comp plan. What is it? Why are we updating it? And then Carly will talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts and focus on some of those certain elements that have been updated here. So as we are updating the comprehensive plan, we looked at the entirety of the city limits. We also looked at the surrounding township. And there's a lot of changes, as you all know, that have occurred as part of the LEAP project and other projects in the area. We also took a deep dive on existing neighborhoods, the core of the city, and areas of growth outside of the city's core. And so we looked at a lot of areas around here as part of our look at the comprehensive plan, and we did it in alignment with Indiana codes. Indiana code has requirements in law for comprehensive plans, and I'll go through that in a moment, but I'll say that we do these all over the state and really all over the Midwest. And so we're very familiar with this process, and we've ensured that your all's comp plan is in alignment with state statutes. So the key content requirements by the state are about objectives for future development, which you all have, policy for land use and development, policy for development of public ways, places, land, structures, and utilities. And really what this is used is, as you all know, as Plan Commission members, is a guidance document. So this is that long-term vision for planning in the community. It's a guide for decision and policy making, as well as for land use and zoning recommendations. And what this is not a plan for specific areas. This is not zoning. And this is meant to be flexible. This is a guidance document. So the idea that this is something that both lives on the web and is also physical, we've tried to really accommodate, the usefulness of this in the best way possible. So really, why are we updating the plan today? Well, it's really because of these big changes within the city. We talked about the LEAP Innovation District. As you all might recall, there was a small update to the comprehensive plan. Was it last year, Ben? 2 years now, 2025, time flies, to accommodate the LEAP Master Plan as part of the comprehensive plan. So we've included some further refinements to that, but that is already in there. We've thought about new needs like utilities, transit, housing. In the time when your comp plan was last updated to now, obviously there's the LEAP district which was integrated, but then the county housing plan was completed, which Ben shared some slides about. There's a lot of development interest, and we wanted to make sure that we really thought about all of those things proactively as we put together a new comp plan for you. So with that, I'll let Carly take it away.
So I'll talk a little bit more about the phases and tasks as we go through the plan document. But I'm going to start with walking you through the plan document and explain a little bit more in detail the contents of the plan. So the plan is structured and divided into 3 sections. The introduction, which covers the planning process, the community background, and the community engagement process. There is also a user guide at the end so that you can walk yourself through on how to use the plan, who uses the plan, how it will be used in the future. The second section is the plan elements, which walks through the 6 plan elements, including their existing conditions, the supporting mapping, and the key initiatives for each of the 6 plan elements. And then the last section, the implementation plan, goes through and lists all the key initiatives and the action items in a matrix that you can use moving forward as the plan is implemented. Now that I've gone through the outline and the structure of the plan, I'll walk through each section of the plan, and I will start with the introduction, which is the foundation of the comprehensive plan, which includes the plan purpose and vision, which explains why we updated the plan, like Aaron and Ben mentioned. The planning area boundary map, which shows the boundaries of the plan and the areas that we looked at. The planning process and schedule of the 3 phases, like were mentioned, that we took through the process. So phase 1 was the understanding, and we learned about the existing conditions, the demographic analysis, going through and learning about the community. Phase 2 is where we developed the plan further, and we also involved the community in those phases as well. And then phase 3 is the documentation and getting the plan together and bringing it as a whole. We also went through the community background, which talks about Lebanon in its context and the community as a whole, what all encompasses it demographically, and looking at its analysis as a community. Then we also went through the previous plans that have been accomplished up until this point and the accomplishments since the last comprehensive plan that have happened in that time between, like Ben mentioned. And lastly, the community engagement that we interacted with the community throughout this process and made sure that they had the ability to bring their thoughts to the plan so they could be also implemented in the plan as well. And you'll see that later in our implementation matrix. Section 2 is about the plan elements, which includes the 6 different plan elements, which are the overarching topics and themes within the plan that include each existing condition, supporting mapping, and as well as the key initiatives for each of the goals of the overarching elements. The 6 elements each have a vision that is associated with them, and I'm going to go through each of the 6 elements and tell you how it is, what it's aiming for as the plan is implemented. Housing and neighborhoods aims to connect neighborhoods and develop a diverse housing stock that will meet the housing needs of residents and future residents. Land use and development character will aim to ensure a well-balanced and diverse mix of land uses that contribute to the community character and protect sensitive areas. Transportation and utility will aim to provide a safe and efficient and well-maintained utility and transportation infrastructure. Downtown will continue and aims to continue to invest in support and promote a walkable and diverse downtown. Quality of life aims to improve and enhance the community through parks, community services, historic resources, and other community assets of Lebanon. And the last element, economic development, aims to foster economic development opportunities and address big investments like the LEAP district and other big development interests and create a diverse workforce and improve economic vitality. And the last section, section 3, which is arguably the most important part of all of this, is the implementation table and matrix. So this section includes a guide on how to use the implementation table and what each of the table categories mean and how they're used in the implementation of the plan. It also includes the implementation table that has all of the key initiatives, action items, and ways to implement each of these to move forward into the future of Lebanon. And that is all I have, so I'm going to pass it back to Aaron and Ben for anything I may have missed and any questions you may have.
So I know that was a quick presentation. As you all become more familiar with the content in this updated comprehensive plan, of course, we'll work with Ben to answer more detailed questions that you all might have. But would ask if there's any questions or comments from the commission at this time.
Thank you guys very much. Any questions?
I have a question for him.
Yeah.
Ben, it's a question I asked last at a meeting, member about moving back the front from the sidewalks, the house back 5 feet or 10 feet of
Yeah, I
all
mean,
these
that's-
new houses.
That's something that's what we would want to address in our zoning ordinance, not in the comprehensive plan.
Yeah.
So this is more bigger overarching ideas for how we do
But
housing
it's
and
got to be
development.
incorporated into that housing. I mean, as you
Well,
do that.
That's something that would come in the zoning ordinance updates when we make those in the future. That would be too specific for this document. But I hear you on that, and that's something we'll be looking at.
That is a problem.
Yeah, there's probably 4, 5, or 6 different ways to address the actual problem, but that is, yes, we hear you on that, and we're definitely looking into that.
Okay, thank you.
If there are any specific questions, be happy to answer them. I would also just quickly go through the process here. Some of you did go through this last time, but the comprehensive plan is a process that requires first a presentation to the Plan Commission. And as you're the advisory Plan Commission, your responsibility is to provide a recommendation on adoption of the plan. And then this gets forwarded to the Common Council. The council then via resolution would adopt the comprehensive plan based, I guess they don't have to follow your recommendation, but typically they would. So they would evaluate the comprehensive plan, the recommendation from the Plan Commission, determine whether to adopt that. There certainly can still be changes made to this if there's things in there that you think should be added, changed, deleted, et cetera. We did want to get this presentation out in front of you tonight. If you feel comfortable making a recommendation tonight, we'd be happy to discuss that. If you'd like more time to review this, we'd be happy to let you have that as well and come back and do a recommendation next month. Just looking for any reactions, questions that we haven't touched on already.
Anything?
I do have a question. So, we're talking about the neighborhoods and what are we going to do with some of these older homes? As you come into Lebanon on the south side, is there any revitalization, anything looking to, because we need to have a good entrance to enter our community. I mean, we can do everything we want, like in the middle and in the north, but if we're not coming in and seeing, some really nice homes and businesses, then I think.
Yeah, there's actually, I think, a whole section on here dealing with the gateways. And that's both from the perspective of the actual road itself, looking to improve that, and then also the uses and structures or facilities along that road. So yes, very much so. The gateways are extremely important. And then looking at strategies, how we might improve the actual corridor itself, and then also those buildings, whether that would be redevelopment or reinvestment, or just looking at reevaluating those uses that are there. So absolutely, that's a key. It didn't directly address that one, but it does highlight the fact that there is an interchange and additional connectivity that we provided up there. I think, we address it at a really high level again in here. And if we really wanted to get down into the weeds on a corridor, that would be something for further study, but yeah.
Any other questions, comments? So then I would leave it up to the commission. As Ben stated, we could put a pause on, or, like he said, if the comfort level's there, essentially the action that they would be looking at would be a recommendation, either favorable or unfavorable to the Common Council. So I would entertain any motions at this point.
I'll make a motion to make a favorable recommendation to the Common Council for the
A motion to forward with a favorable recommendation. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Thank you guys very much. Obviously, a lot of hard work going into that. And, that presentation is the first of probably a handful of times you're going to go through that.
Yeah. And then just one note on that too, once this is adopted, they'll also be making updates to the website reflective of the new material. So we'll make sure to get that out to everybody, that web link again, once that gets updated, so you can direct people there who might be interested. So
Perfect. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. That was the only item I show under old business. So we'll move on to new business. And we have docket 25-9, which is a rezone request.
speaking of rezonings and how they're impacted or supported by the comprehensive plan, we'll start off with a couple of them right away here now that we've discussed the comprehensive plan. So a little bit of history actually on this one and the next item on the agenda, which is the property that's just to the west here. These are both outlots that are on State Road 32 out in front of the Lebanon Shell Building project that the Redevelopment Commission is part of. That's obviously, my aerial photography is painfully dated, but there is an industrial building that's under construction directly to the north of these two lots. And when we were going through the zoning ordinance update, actually early last year, we were actually in negotiations with a company to purchase the Shell building at that time. And they were also interested in both of those outlots and had options on those outlots, and were going to need them to be rezoned to an industrial use. This whole area was zoned commercial at the time. And so ironic timing, we happened to be just at the point where we were updating the zoning map as part of our zoning ordinance update last year. So we said, well, while we're doing this, we might as well save a step and go ahead and rezone and change the zoning of those properties to industrial as part of the zoning map update with the zoning ordinance. So we did that. The zoning map was adopted by the council with those two outlots with an industrial zoning, and then the user who was negotiating to purchase the building walked away from the deal. Therefore, the industrial zoning for those two outlots was no longer needed because the deal for the Shell building fell through. So now we're in a position where we have two commercial retail outlots that were zoned industrial, don't meet any of the industrial zoning requirements, never were intended to be industrial uses except for for that particular user. And so now there is interest in both of these outlots for commercial retail development, and it's zoned industrial. So now the ironic thing here in terms of timing is they both are interested in getting these rezoned at the same meeting. So we're just going to knock this out at one time. So this is a request this evening from the property owner, this parcel you see here highlighted in yellow, to change the zoning from light industrial back to general business to allow for the development of a hotel on this property. And the applicant is here. The group is here. If you'd like to hear a little bit more about their proposed development here in a minute. But first, I'll just go through some of the technical details on the rezone. Just as a quick reminder of process, again, as an advisory plan commission, your responsibility is to evaluate the rezone request based on things like the comprehensive plan, and offer a recommendation for that rezone to the Common Council. And then the Common Council is a responsible entity for adopting a rezone as part of an ordinance. So we're at step one of the process, and then it would go through two readings of an ordinance to the council before it would be adopted. So I'll just quick run through the staff report a little bit here. There are criteria that we evaluate when determining potential rezones. The first is consistency with the comprehensive plan, which I mentioned already, and mentioned that the subject property is designated for commercial uses on the future land use map. So the rezone to commercial general business zoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Criteria number 2 is compatibility with the adjacent land uses. And I'll kind of use the aerial here. You can see there's industrial across to the south. To the east is commercial general business. To the northeast here, this property is actually zoned general business. We have our Shell building that's zoned industrial. And then actually this parcel to the west is up for consideration on the next item on the agenda for a rezone to commercial. So it would be a consistent zoning with this property. So we have determined that it is compatible with existing uses and or zoning Third is the desirability of land use. And as we've already kind of talked about, it was always intended for these outlots to be commercial, retail in nature. And so certainly it is desirable to rezone this back to commercial to allow for the commercial development that was originally proposed on these lots. Criteria number 4 is impact on property values. We've determined that we don't expect there to be any negative impact on property values. And frankly, this is as a use that's desirable in this area as things further develop and the need for hospitality and overnight stays is needed. So we expect this to have likely a positive impact on property values in the areas as this potential hotel use develops. Criteria number 5 is responsible growth. And again, this is an area that has both a mix of commercial and industrial uses. There are already utilities in the area that can serve this site. So we do find that this is a responsible growth opportunity on the site. And so with that, then staff does recommend that the petition be forwarded by the Plan Commission to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation for a rezone from light industrial to general business. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I can also turn it over to the applicant and give you.
So is the land at just 1.78 acres?
It is.
Wow, that seems really like a small footprint for a hotel.
They are going vertical a little bit more. So the footprint of the building will be a little bit smaller and they'll go a little bit taller, which is permitted in the general business zoning district and still allow for the appropriate parking on the site.
So, well, that same question.
Yeah, that Hampton Inn site is a very similar size, and actually it's an even more odd shape.
Real quick, guys, just make sure as you're speaking close to the mic so we pick it up for home.
And I will also emphasize this rezone doesn't by any means approve the hotel development on the site. They're still going to have to file for a development plan. We'll review based on all of the development standards for the general business zoning district and the overlays, make sure they can meet all those. If there's anything that they can't meet, they'd be going to the Board of Zoning Appeals for variances. But so this is just the rezone, to really first step in the process for them getting a development approved.
Any other questions from the commission? Does the applicant care to speak? It's certainly not required. Don't feel obligated.
I would say a few words,
Okay.
but we are already here. All respected members. So my name is Vijay Patel. I am actually from Illinois, and we came across the LEAP district, basically all the development, and my partner from our franchise partner, I've been working with them from Wyndham. His name is Zach. So we come across the opportunity to build a hotel around this area, and we want to build a nice, beautiful Wyndham La Quinta and Suites hotel on this parcel in a beautiful town of Lebanon, and try and basically help when the new businesses will be coming around here. The bigger industries coming here, they're gonna need definitely more rooms. We see the existing market around this area. The hotels are performing at over nearly 80% of occupancy. So they will be in a demand and the needs of more hotels. So we thought we'll build this beautiful hotel over here in Lebanon, which will help us, help the community, and help the city and everyone, basically. So I hope everything will be good, and then we can build a nice, beautiful hotel.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so our next step is a public hearing, so I will officially open docket 25-9 for our public hearing. If you wish to make any comment, please feel free to step towards the microphone and share. Dramatic pause. Seeing no sudden movement to the microphone, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. And again, just as a reminder, unless there's any follow-up questions, this is looking for a recommendation to the Common Council. So I would entertain a motion as such.
I'll make a motion to forward the rezoning request to general business to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation.
All right, so we have a motion to forward with a favorable recommendation. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Thank you very much. And I think we're going to hear something very similar for our next docket, which is 25-11.
All right, thank you, Mr. Coots. As he mentioned, we are just moving just slightly to the west of the property that we were just looking at, and this is the second outlot that's in front of the Lebanon Shell building there on State Road 32. Exact same circumstance where we had rezoned it to accommodate a potential user of that Shell building who walked away from the project. So now we have a new investor that's got this site under option, under contract, is interested in developing this as a commercial retail use, actually looking at a fueling station use out here. This is permitted use in the general business zoning district. Again, very similar circumstances here. This was always intended to be a commercial outlot. And so we need to get it first rezoned back to general business to accommodate retail development on the site. Make sure I've got the correct, not sticking. And I will quickly go through those same criteria on this site. And again, the applicant is here if you'd like to hear more about the proposed use on the site. He is here to do that as well. So again, criteria number one is consistency with the comprehensive plan, very similar to the last one. This is in an area designated on the future land use map for commercial land uses. So the rezoning to general business is consistent with the comprehensive plan. And again, uses in the vicinity are a mix of industrial and commercial uses and zoning. And so the proposed rezone is compatible with adjacent land uses. Criteria three, the desirability of the land use. Again, these are commercial outlots, and it is a desirable, commercial retail uses are a desirable land use on these sites. Thus, we do find this to be a desirable rezoning to general business. Criteria number four, impact on property values. Again, we don't find it a rezone to commercial zoning classification. The general business classification will have any negative impact on property values in the area, and likely the use proposed there will actually be beneficial to the area and increase property values. And criteria number five, responsible growth, again, is an area that is a mix of commercial and industrial land uses. We do find that rezone to a commercial land use and zoning classification would be representative of responsible growth in the area. And so with that, then, planning staff does recommend this petition be forwarded by the Plan Commission to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation for a general business zoning classification. That be happy to answer any questions. Again, as the applicant is here, he can fill you in a little bit more on the proposed use for the site if you'd like to hear that.
Ben, any questions for Ben? And would the applicant care to speak?
Thank you for your time. Yeah, Nick, been with part of the community for 5+ years now, and looking forward to a brand new project and continued investment into the, my town of Lebanon over the coming years and decades to come. So just wanted to thank you, and yeah, here to answer any questions you might have about the vision that we have overall. Yeah, essentially, so, being part of the community, and, my parents are also involved, idea that I had for quite some time, something I was thinking of actually doing back in 2020, with what is currently the KC site, right? So I'm envisioning something similar, which serves the need of the community, but then also top tier sort of product and service that customers can count on. So a fuel station perhaps, right, with a top tier brand like Circle K or something else, with that additional QSR concept like Little Caesars or something else. So that's kind of up to finalization, and then maybe like a car wash sort of lane essentially. So those are the three ideas that we're gonna move forward with, and sort of future session when we have further planning and whatnot, I'll have a little bit more concrete details there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Really appreciate it.
So in similar fashion, we will go ahead and open the public hearing for docket 25-11. If you have any comment, please feel free to step to the microphone. Wait for my dramatic pause long enough to make the attorneys happy. You're sitting quite stoic, Rob. Seeing no motion to the microphone, we will go ahead and close the public hearing section of this docket. And I would entertain a motion of recommendation to the Common Council.
I'll make a motion to forward the rezoning request to general business to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Heather. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Thank you very much. And moving right along.
Mr. Coots, it just dawned on me as we were talking about public hearings that we did not hold one for the comprehensive plan update as we're discussing that. So I feel like we probably should go back and hold a public hearing and redo the motion. It does. At the Plan Commission, it requires a public hearing.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, you two are in great shape. We're going to hit the rewind button just slightly, and we're referring again back to docket 25-10. So as a reminder, this is the comprehensive plan updates, which was the presentation we saw at the beginning of the meeting. If anyone would like to do so, I will officially open a public hearing on docket 25-10. And please feel free to step to the microphone, provide any feedback that you wish to provide. Seeing no feedback wanting to be provided, we will go ahead and officially close that public hearing. Now that we have met the requirement of public hearing, I would re-entertain a motion on docket 25-10, which again is looking for a recommendation to the Common Council.
I'll again make a recommendation to the Common Council for a favorable recommendation for the comprehensive plan for 2025.
Have a motion for favorable. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. All right.
An extra strong recommendation now. We did it twice.
Correct. Perfect. Hey, let's move ourselves right along here. And in pretty similar fashion to those two items, let's do a bunch in a row that are the exact same with different parcels. What do you say?
You got it. So we are looking at LEAP annexations. This is phase 36 through 43. These are, again, all 100% voluntary annexations, and they do meet all contiguity requirements for annexation. Similar to the last round we did last fall, these are all, as you can see by the map, filling in holes, if you will, on previous annexations in the LEAP district as additional properties come under contract and move forward with annexation. So because they are not contiguous to each other, we've got a whole bunch of different phases that will all have to be done individually. I will also point out that the parcels D and E, which you see down at the very bottom of the screen, we had those in the agenda as two separate docket numbers, but since they're adjacent to each other, they will become one annexation ordinance. But since we did them as two separate docket numbers, we'll need an individual recommendation for each one. So what I'll do is after this quick introduction, I'll let the applicant do their quick introduction, and then we'll just quickly go through each one of the docket numbers. I've got a slideshow on the screen where I'll show you each phase individually on here, where it's located, identify the address for that acreage, and then we'll move forward with each one, a recommendation. Again, this is a multi-step process for annexation. The Plan Commission's role is to provide a recommendation on the zoning classification for each one of these parcels. These are all within the LEAP district comprehensive planning area. So we've recommended the LEAP zoning district for each one of these. But again, we will need individual recommendations for each one for the LEAP zoning district as recommended by staff in the staff reports. I'll let the applicant give you a quick recap here, summary, and then I will go through each docket on the agenda, and I'll highlight those and look for recommendations on each one of those after a public hearing.
Thank you, Ben.
Good evening. My name is Chris Engel. I'm counsel for IEDC. I think Ben did a nice job explaining the purpose for the petitions tonight. So I think these are 8 different, I guess 9 parcels, but 2 are contiguous that are partly owned either by IEDC or by individuals who IEDC has under contract to acquire their properties in furtherance of the LEAP project. So I'll entertain any questions if the council has it.
From the commission? All right.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. So as Ben said, we will obviously go through these pretty systematically. Ben and I have discussed how these kind of work, making sure that we meet all legal requirements and make it as efficient and effective as possible. So Ben, take it away.
All right. So if they want to pull the screen up, we'll start with docket 25-13. This is Project LEAP Phase 36 annexation, which you see highlighted up here in the northeastern corner of this map. It's a teeny tiny little sliver that's off 300 North. Let me find my staff report here. The approximate address is 1865 West 300 North. And you will see that identified here. Again, like I said, it's a tiny little sliver that was discovered later on that hadn't been annexed in a previous annexation. So we're getting an annex now, so we don't have that hole there. So again, this is docket 25-13. It's a 0.24 acre parcel, approximate address 1865 West 300 North, 100% voluntary annexation request.
Thank you, Ben. So I will go ahead and open the public hearing on docket 25-13, annexation request for a small parcel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to step to the microphone. Seeing no sudden movement to the microphone, I will go ahead and close that public hearing, and I would
be looking for a recommendation for the LEAP zoning classification forward to the council.
Yes. Yeah, if you, sorry.
I make a motion to recommend the LEAP zoning, the classification for the proposed annexation territory to the Common Council.
I'll second.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Sorry, we should have gone over that part. That was the one part we missed. So this is simply forwarding to the council with a recommendation of a zoning classification. So that will be the majority of the rest of our agenda. So 25-14.
All right, docket 25-14 is LEAP Phase 37 annexation. Again, a very tiny parcel you see identified here. It's the one with the letter B attached to it. This is actually a piece of right-of-way along State Road 32 that is owned by the IEDC and discovered that it hadn't been annexed yet. And so there is not an address for it because it's not a property. And you can see here, it's actually a piece of the right-of-way along there. So again, a component that was discovered hadn't been annexed. It's owned by the IEDC. And again, this is a 100% voluntary annexation, and we're looking for a recommendation for the LEAP district zoning classification for the property.
Thank you, Ben. So we will officially open the public hearing on docket 25-14, annexation request. Any comments, please feel free to step to the microphone. Seeing no comments, we'll go ahead and close that public hearing portion, and I would entertain a motion for recommendation.
Make a motion to recommend the LEAP zoning classification for the proposed annexation territory to the Common Council.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. And for any audience members that if you're just, really riveted with this, feel free to hang out with us, but don't feel as though you need to stay. Moving on to docket 25-15.
All right, docket 25-15 is LEAP Phase 38 annexation. This is another piece of right-of-way parcel that's on State Road 32 that you see highlighted here in the center of this map. Again, this is a 100% voluntary annexation into the city of Lebanon. Again, you kind of see it highlighted here again. This comes to you with a recommendation for the LEAP zoning classification for the proposed annexed territory.
Thank you, Ben. So we will officially open the public hearing for docket 25-15, annexation into the city of Lebanon. If you have any comments, please feel free to step to the microphone. You're not stepping to the microphone, huh? Any comments? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing on docket 25-15, and I would entertain a motion on recommendation.
I'll make a motion for favorable recommendation for docket 2515 to the Common Council.
Of the which district? The LEAP zoning district?
LEAP zoning district, yes.
Perfect. So we have a motion for the LEAP zoning district. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. 25-16.
All right, 25-16 and 25-17 are actually all part of LEAP Phase 39. Again, we'll have to take each one of those individually in terms of a public hearing and recommendation, but you'll see Phase 39 highlighted here down at the southern end of the LEAP district, parcels D and E that you see located right here. The two parcels that you now see here, these are 2.5 and 3.28 acre parcels with addresses of, I guess I better make sure I get the right, 403 South 400 West and 3980 West 50 South. Again, these are 100% voluntary annexations and come to you with a recommendation for the LEAP zoning district.
Thank you very much, Ben. And as he stated, we will do these separate. So we've seen the documentation on both, but I'm first going to open the public hearing on docket 25-16, which is the annexation in regards to 403 South 400 West. So if you have any comment on that, the public hearing is officially open. Please feel free to step to the microphone. Seeing no stepping to the microphone, I will officially close that public hearing and would entertain a motion on docket 25-16.
I'll make a motion for favorable recommendation of the LEAP zoning classification for the proposed annexation of the territory to the Common Council.
Perfect. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second from Heather. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry, and we'll move directly to docket 25-17. We did just review the map. I will open the public hearing on 25-17. Again, this is referring to the address 3980 West 50 South. If you have any comments, please feel free to step towards the microphone. Seeing no motion to the microphone, I will close that public hearing and I would entertain a motion.
A motion to recommend the LEAP zoning classification for the proposed annexation territory to the.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second from Denise. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Docket 25-18.
Right. Okay, 25-18 is the LEAP Phase 40 annexation that you see highlighted down here in the south end. This small parcel identified with the letter F. This is a 3.5 acre parcel with an address of 445 South 300 West. Again, this is a 100% voluntary annexation request, and it does come to you with a recommendation for the LEAP zoning classification.
Thank you, Ben. So again, I'll open public hearing on docket 25-18, which is a voluntary annexation. If you have any comment, please feel free to step to the microphone. Don't toy with my emotions. I saw you move in your chair. Seeing no motions to the microphone, I will close the public hearing on docket 25-18 and entertain any motions.
I'll make a motion to recommend the league zoning classification for the proposed annexed territory to the common council.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That one does carry. Docket 25-19.
All right, docket 25-19 is the Project Leap Phase 41 annexation. Again, you can see highlighted here in the center of the screen on the east end side. There's a tiny little parcel here highlighted with the letter G that's off State Road 32. This is a 1 acre parcel that you see here. The address is 2250 West State Road 32. This again is a 100% voluntary annexation. Comes to you with a recommendation for the Leap District zoning classification.
Thank you, Ben. So we will open the public hearing on docket 25-19, voluntary annexation into the city of Lebanon. If you have any comments, please feel free to step to the podium. No stepping to the podium. I will close the public hearing on docket 25-19 and entertain any motions.
I recommend the LEAP zoning classification for the proposed annexation territory to the Common Council.
Got a motion to recommend. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
A second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. Don't worry, we have two left.
Two more.
25-20.
All right, docket 25-20 is the Project Leap Phase 42 annexation. Again, you see highlighted here in the center south part of the screen and with the letter H. And this is actually a little bit large. This is the largest parcel we have here. This is approximately 40 acres that you see here. Approximate address of 3755 West 25 North. Again, this is a 100% voluntary annexation and does come to you with a recommendation for the Leap District zoning classification.
Thank you, Ben. We will open the public hearing to docket 25-20, which is the voluntary annexation into the city of Lebanon. If you have any comments, please feel free to step to the microphone. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing on docket 25-20 and entertain any motions.
Make a motion to recommend the LEAP zoning classification for the proposed annexation territory to the Common Council.
Got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
It's a fight. Either one of them. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. And bringing us to the home stretch, docket 25-21, a wonderful 6.59 acre parcel.
25-21. You might have heard this before. It is a LEAP annexation. This time it's phase 43. As Mr. Coots mentioned, it is a 6.59 acre parcel. You see highlighted here right in the center of the screen. And here is the parcel here identified here. This one actually did not have an address in GIS, but you can see it is located at the intersection of 200 North and 400 West. Again, this is a 100% voluntary annexation to the city of Lebanon. It does come to you with a recommendation for a LEAP district zoning classification.
Thank you, Ben. I will, for one more time this evening, open a public hearing on docket number 25-21, voluntary annexation into the city of Lebanon. If you have any comments, please feel free to step to the microphone. Not doing it either. I see no sudden movements to the microphone, so I will close the public hearing and entertain any motions.
I'll make a motion to recommend the LEAP zoning for classification for the post annexation territory to the Common Council.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. That motion does carry. That does wrap up all of our agenda items. Is there any other business to come before the commission for the good of the group? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Got a motion. Do we have a second? And a second from Heather. All those in favor, please signify with an aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you very much. We will see you in May.